Hey, it's Jeff from HOMEOWNER DIY, and if you are interested in planning a new kitchen remodel or renovation, or you're thinking of taking out a wall and opening up your space and adding an island to your kitchen, then you need to watch this video because we're going to go through all the things necessary to design and build your own island and save you a ton of money. Let's get into this. Step number one is to know your space. Now what I mean by that is understand the basic design rule, okay? And that is 40 inches. You want to have 40 inches from countertop to countertop when you are designing an island. You also want 40 inches off the corners of your island to any other obstructions like doors and walls or chairs or furniture, so you can have a nice flow around the space without it feeling like it's taking over a hallway or going too far into the eating area, or just making it uncomfortable for people to actually enjoy the kitchen when you're having those dinner parties. Because let's face it, that's why we're making islands, to have our friends over and have a good time. So make everybody comfortable, keep that rule of 40 inches. It's not new, but it's so important. And a lot of people will sacrifice that 40 inches so they can get all their bells and whistles in. I'm telling you right now, it's a mistake. You're gonna affect the valuation of your home when you go to resale, because other people aren't gonna have the same value about your bells and whistles in your island as they are about the flow in the room. So resist the temptation to encroach on your 40 inches. Unless it's your own kitchen working space and behind the island, there you can sometimes cheat and shave off an inch or so if you need to. But that's the basic rule. Second thing you need to know, quartz and granite countertops. If you want to save money on your countertop installation, then what I suggest you do is you go down to your local quartz and granite stores and you ask them what they have that's in stock, especially when you're dealing with quartz. A lot of times they'll have half a slab, 9 feet long, left over, that someone else has paid the premium on to have that piece cut. Now they're available to give it to you at a better price. Now, anytime you make an island that's countertop is less than 9 feet, you can get it in one piece. That also saves money on installation, so that means money in your bank, right? So your countertop is basically going to be 24 inches, plus 1.5 inches for overhang on this side, plus you want to have at least 10 inches overhang for your eating area. Okay, 12 is better, but 10 is your minimum so that you can sit at the counter on a stool comfortably and eat. The other thing you want to consider is how many people are going to be sitting at your island. With 9 feet, you can go with 4, but sometimes 3 just looks better. Remember, 2 couples in a kitchen, 3 in the chair, 1 hosting, that really works well. It's also aesthetically pleasing for your lighting, because then you can have 1 light for each person sitting at the counter. Organizing your pendants and your lighting is very key. Get all that run ahead of time. Now, we have the basics of design laid out. We want lighting for every person. We want to have enough space. We want to have the overhang. You also want to make sure you figure out if you need to cheat on your space because of an overhang, you can do what's called a radius corner, okay? That means the counter can come out and then you can actually, instead of doing a square, you can have them cut around, okay? So in our area, we were actually a little tight. We did a 6-inch radius corner, which measures back 6 inch and over 6 inch, and then they just do a circle. Nice and simple, gives you a little extra room. When it comes to planning your island, you really want to think about function, because it's all about function in an island, right? Our island, we're actually putting our sink. Because we have a huge picture window on the other side of the room across the way, this still works great for a kitchen, because you can be working at the sink and still have lots of sunshine and a great view. So I encourage people to put their island in their sink, especially in old farmhouses, because remember, your foundation wall is almost 2 feet thick, and it makes running mechanical and keeping your vapor barrier and thermal systems in place really, really difficult. Something always suffers there. So now we're stuck here. We're going to have a sink. You remember you're going to want to have a dishwasher next to your sink. That's important. You're also going to want to have your garbage. And nowadays it means 2 things, probably regular garbage and wet garbage compostables. So you can buy cabinets that have pull-out drawers that have all that as well. So you're going to have your garbage and then your sink and then your dishwasher. And my favorite thing to do in an island is add a fridge. Yeah, right off the end. What that does is it keeps the traffic for people who want to have a fridge like this one from Kingsbottle. Something like this may cost a little bit of money, but it is a selling feature that has a wow factor in your kitchen that won't require you to spend a ton of money in a lot of other places. Remember, when you're looking for resale, one feature that says wow is all it takes to make people love your kitchen, as long as it functions well. So there's the basics of design. We got lighting, we got counters, we've talked all that stuff. Now we got to deal with your mechanical, because the mechanical needs of an island are very specific, and there's a lot of code issues going on here. So you need to understand your limitations in your house for your mechanical situations as well, because you're going to be adding potentially a lot of electrical circuits. First, you got to check your panel. Do you have enough room for that? Maybe, maybe not. You might have to hire an electrician to add onto your panel to provide you additional circuits, because on an island this long, you need to have 2 plugs. Now, I recently had the electrical inspector in before we put the drywall on, and we were talking about the counter specifically. I said, where do they need to be? Does it matter? And he said, no. As long as there's 2 on the island, he doesn't care where they are. He doesn't care if they're functional at all. So we're actually going to go through the back of the cabinet on each end and put in plugs with those little USB adapters in them, and they're going to be on a GFI circuit because it's still close enough to the sink. The GFI is going to be hooked up in the basement somewhere so that I can have that service for people sitting at the island so they can be charging their phone. It's a good thing to think about, and that is available. You don't have to have the cubes, right? Very nice. The second thing you're going to need is, if you're adding the fridge, you're going to need a plug for that as well, right? Refrigerators need to be on dedicated circuits. So now you've got 2 circuits. The sink itself is going to need plumbing. And you've got 2 options. If you want to get the extra storage in your island, then you can get away with connecting your 2 drains, putting this drain back to the back corner and taking it into the basement. Traditionally, a P-trap looks something like this, usually not quite so dirty. It has a clean out on it, right? And this is only good if you have access to it. If you don't have access to it, it has to be non-existent. It has to be actually glued consistent, just like a tub. But the P-trap, if you put it underneath, if you have a finished basement, you might not have enough room for that. But what you can do is you can install your P-trap on an angle. And what I mean by that, okay, you can actually have your P-trap like this. It can be on a 45 degrees in between floor joists, right? The goal here is to keep the water line so that air can't pass through the pipe. And if it's on an angle, it still passes code inspection because the P-trap itself is still full of water. So that's an option for you. You don't necessarily have to have all of that contraption in your sink cavity. You can just connect them, run a pipe down to the back corner, and then put this in the ceiling downstairs. That's another consideration. When it comes to actually laying this out, I'm going to use the Ikea cabinet system as my guideline because it's important. The timeline for building an island like this can actually be just around about a week, week and a half. I know that sounds crazy, but the truth is, you can put all your flooring in, have all your lighting done, have the paint done, grab your cabinets, stick them together, and then just grab a couple of 1x5s like this, okay? And you can line it up on your cabinet and extend it out, all right? And it'll give you a good representation of where your counter is going to go. And you can put your fridge in place and make sure that you leave your 24 inches for your dishwasher, which is a standard gap, plus you're going to have an end panel on each side. Right? That's so that it looks really nice up front. So that adds another 8 inch and a quarter. So 25 and a quarter brings your fridge to here. And then you can actually order your countertop right over the phone. You add 1 inch and a quarter down that end, and you bring it over to the end of your fridge. Boom, 105 and a half. Now, you can literally just take piece of paper, say give me 105 and a half, okay, 24, 34 inches, 6 inch radius corners on the one side, all right, and now you just got to find out where your sink goes. All you do for that, you would mark the center line right there, measure over here, add your 1.5 inches. You can take that number now and go 37 and a half. Nice and simple, right? And then if you want to, you can fax them the template or you can drop it off, or a lot of countertop guys like to come out and measure themselves, right? It's a great big waste of time, but having that template when they manufacture is the key to success. Now they can have this thing ready for you in about a week from when you order it. Because what you do before you build your kitchen is you go down to the quartz place, you find out what they've got for inventory, and you put a deposit on that piece of stone that's left over that you want. Then when you're ready to go, you can have that measurement in and they can start cutting that the next day. It only takes a few days to prep these things for delivery. Voila, Instant Kitchen. You have enough time to build the cabinets, run your mechanical, and install everything in less than a week. What a great deal. Now listen, if you want to learn more about how to renovate your kitchen, I suggest you click the link here and follow through our entire 1880s farmhouse renovation project. You're going to learn a ton, and then you can renovate your own kitchen too.